Hello friends, it's Taishia, the Millennial Educator here. I'm a teacher by trade and an educator by nature, entrepreneur, and simply a millennial trying to navigate life. And I don't know about you, but 2020 in adulting has been so ghetto, but I'm here to help as best as I can. So all of my videos focus on self-reflecting, how journaling is helping me, and in turn will help guide you all as well. So today I posted a video on being productive, and child, lately staying home hasn't been my best friend. Like, some days I'm super productive and some days I'm not. And I just realized how important it is to stay on top of your productivity game. Because if you don't get things done, no one else is gonna pick up your slack or tell you to work harder. Everything is 100% on you and your own responsibility. So whether you're self-employed, working for others, or simply want to tick off more personal projects, I've got 5 on it. So I've got 5 tips to help us today. Are you ready? Tip number 1 is to turn off your notifications. So my productivity increases when I turn off my notifications, because when you think about it, you don't really need to be notified urgently about stuff. Do you really need to see who just liked your post or your photo right away? Do you really? No. Is it something that you can check maybe once a day or even less frequently? Personally, I've turned off my push notifications on social media and even some of my message notifications, because when you think about it, if something is truly urgent, people will contact you in other ways. So turn off your notifications. Productivity tip number 2 is to do the hardest things first. So you know how there's usually always one important thing that you try important at all costs, we all try to avoid it. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. Use the start of the day when you have the most energy to tackle it, and you'll thank yourself once you get it done. So do hard things first. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3, use timers. So a lot of us, me included, are often distracted by a lot of things, and we want to do things quickly, and we want to take a peek at our social media feeds and do this and do that. So try setting a timer, so a quick check doesn't accidentally turn into 2 hours. And if you're using a computer, Google has a free timer that works great. Just search timer in the search bar. You could also use timers to turn off, things that you have to do. You can also turn it into a game, set an alarm for yourself and see how much you can get done within that time frame. This is also very similar to the Ponodoro method that I said in one of my videos prior to this. That is where you set a timer for 25 minutes and you do one task uninterrupted within that 25 minutes. And then after the timer goes off, you take a break and then you start the timer again. So set a timer. And of course, during this time, you are focused, which brings me to tip number 4. Make sure your phone is inaccessible. So you might be able to put your phone another room while you're working, or you may want to put it on do not disturb. I like to put my phone on airplane mode personally, because I don't get calls coming in. There's also an app called Force, and Force basically has an incentive to stop you from using other apps at a certain time, and you're able to take phone calls in case of an emergency. Keyword emergency. Now, tip number 5 is to take a break. And sometimes productivity is a curse, because I learned that you're going to burn yourself out trying to be nonstop and always working. And generally your mind slows down about 45 minutes to an hour of work. So taking breaks that aren't too long, so again, taking maybe 10 to 15 minute breaks, are perfect lengths without getting distracted. And if you implement the Ponodoro method, you take 25-minute focus work and a 5-minute break. But that's all, guys. That was my quick 5 tips, but I do have a bonus tip for y'all. So the day I talked about how I watched Jessica Alexander's live, and she was saying just do one thing. So if you want to write a book, you start by typing one word, one sentence, one paragraph. The same is for our productivity. Don't think of everything as the final project. This is literally my daily struggle, because if you're like me, I'm a deep thinker and I always see the end goal and forget that it takes single steps to get you there. Everything always ends up working out, but you also end up disappointing yourself when you try to think of all the mountainous things that you have to do. So just do one thing at a time. And remember that your first approach is always the first draft. So remind yourself that it isn't the first or the end goal. You can always improve on it. But your first draft won't be the best, but it's okay. Don't strive for perfection. Aim for small, consistent progress instead. Now, I hope these tips help you all in some way, and I'm going to end by saying you can fool everyone else, but you can't fool your own mind. Within this, I want you to reflect on this. What have you been holding off on doing and completing? That's question number 1. Question number 2, what next steps can you take to be one step further towards completing your goals? So feel free to answer those questions below, but also utilize your journal for this. And if you haven't, go ahead and click the link in my bio and grab a copy of my journal via Amazon. But give yourself grace, but also work, because grace without work is dead. But you got this. We got this. Until next time, this has been your daily millennial motivation with the Millennial Educator. Now go and do some work.